Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read Parshas Haazinu. And every Parsha is beautiful, every Parsha is magnificent, but Parshas Haazinu is unique in that it's in the form of a shira. It's a song. And Moshe Rabbeinu opens this song, Haazinu hashamayim va'adabera v'asishma aretz imrefri. Literally again, the heavens should listen and I will speak, and let the earth hear the utterances of my mouth. Moshe Rabbeinu is not just delivering a shira, but the shira itself is a form of testimony. You see, Moshe Rabbeinu wants to make sure that Klal Yisrael understands that in a relationship with Hashem there are expectations, like any relationship. And if you meet the expectations, you could expect certain things from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But if Chas v'Shalom you don't meet the expectations, then unfortunately there are ramifications as well. And Parshas Haazinu spells out the details of these relationship expectations. And part of the shira focuses, in a very sad way, on Klal Yisrael's failure to meet the expectations. Sometimes Moshe Rabbeinu says we're just not as committed as we should be in our relationship with Hashem. And one of the ways that Moshe Rabbeinu expressed this is in an incredible pasuk in Perek Lamed Beis, pasuk Yirches, chapter 32, verse 18. Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Sur yilodcha teshi v'tishkach kel mecholaleka," which literally translated means as follows: Tzur Yilad Chateshi, you forgot the mighty rock who birthed you, the mighty rock being a reference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Vatishkach Kel Mechololeka, you forgot the God who delivered you. And of course, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying in a beautiful poetic way, you forget Hashem. That sometimes as life goes on, we just forget Hashem. Now often this happens, we know, in times of good, times of difficulty, times of distress. There are no atheists in the foxhole. Everyone remembers HaKadosh Baruch Hu when there's an acute need. But sometimes when life is good, things are tranquil, everything is going as it should be, sometimes we forget Hashem. Tzur Yilad Chateshi, you have forgotten the mighty rock who birthed you. Vatishkach Kel Mecholaleka, you forgot the God who delivered you. And the great tzaddik Rav Menachem Mendel of Kotsk says something so incredibly beautiful, and I want to quote you. The Rebbe says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu hitbiya b'cha ha'ofi v'atchuna shel teshi. One of the greatest gifts that Hashem has given us is the power to forget. Incredible. Why? He says, Shetishkach tsaros u'pegoim ha'ovrim alecha. Because through shichacha, through the power of forgetfulness, of forgetting, we're able to forget the difficulties, the tragedies of the past and move forward. Now, of course, what does the Kotzker mean about that? So, if you think about it like on a Klal Yisrael level, because I think it's easier to imagine this on a national than an individual level. Klal Yisrael has been through so many traumas and so many tragedies and so many difficulties. And yet you would think that because of all of that, we would be a people who would lack hope, lack optimism, lack a sense of purpose, lack an ability to move forward. But yet, amazingly enough, Klal Yisrael, how would you categorize us? Like Rabbi Nachman says, mitzvah gidola lios b'simcha tamid. Because sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us an incredible gift. The gift of shichacha, the gift of tashi, the ability to forget. Perhaps what the Kotzker means is it's not as much forget, but it's the ability to sometimes push things into the recesses. It doesn't live on my frontal lobe. It doesn't have to be part of my consciousness all of the time. And the truth is, even on a personal level, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the power to forget, the power to move forward. Are there certain things in life that you cannot forget? Of course. But if you think about it, all of us have failures in life. All of us have dramatic mistakes and missteps. And hopefully the goal is, I don't live with them on my primary consciousness every single day. But it was so dramatic, it was so incredible. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the gift of forgetting. The gift of shichacha, the gift of tashi, the gift of forgetfulness. It's a gift. Because think about it. If I remembered every single thing that went wrong, if I remembered every single tragedy, every single trauma, if I remembered every single thing all of the time, it would prevent me from moving forward in my life. It would prevent me, again, to be clear, the Kotzker is not suggesting that we forget everything. There are certain things that happen to us in life that we cannot forget. That will always be a part of us. But there's what we'll call a shtickle forgetfulness, a little bit, that it doesn't have to live in my frontal lobe, it doesn't have to live in my primary consciousness. I'm able to push it back a little bit so that I'm able to move myself forward in life. The greatest gift, says the Kotzker, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us, is the ability to forget. And what is Moshe Rabbeinu saying? Sometimes the sin we commit is that we take the great gift of forgetfulness, and he says, God says Hashem has given to us, why? Hashem gave us the power to forget so that we can move ourselves forward in life. And what happens? What do we do? And we use this same power of forgetfulness, but we use it against God. Kadosh Baruch Hu gave me the gift of forgetting, the ability to forget, the ability sometimes to push things out of the primary consciousness. And then what do? I use it against the Ribono Shel Olam. And I forget the importance and centrality of the Ribono Shel Olam in my life. That was the message that Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to convey to Klal Yisrael. Don't use the gift of forgetfulness against the God who gave you that very gift. Don't forget about the Ribono Shel Olam in your life. Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Samid. Place HaKadosh Baruch Hu front and center in your life, in every part of your life, and don't forget. But I find it very striking to learn this piece of the Kotzker on the day after Yom Kippur. Or maybe by the time some of you see this 2 days after Yom Kippur, but within the days after Yom Kippur. Because one of the things that's so incredibly powerful is the ability to forget the past. You see, we spend Yamim Noraim focusing on the past, with a hyper-focus on the past. What did I do? What didn't I do? How did I do it? I have to do tshuva. I have to fix this. I have to stop doing this, start doing this. And there's a hyper-focus on what I've done and what I haven't done, and how I can set myself up for success. But there does come a certain point in the dawn of a new year where you have to let last year be last year. And I'll tell you something amazing. As I was davening Shachris this morning, so in the Shmona Esrei, in Shema Kolinu, there's a supplemental paragraph. Ana Hashem, Chatasi avisi upashati lefanecha va'asisi kach v'kach. Hashem, I've sinned before you. All different types of sin. And then there's a place to specify the sin that you've committed. Va'asisi kach v'kach. And then again, it's a request. It's a request for tshuva, a request for forgiveness. And the truth is, I always say it, because I always have averos that I have to do tshuva for. And I started to say it today, and I stopped myself. I said, 1 second. Baruch Hashem, haven't done anything yet. It's a brand new year. I just had Yom Kippur, a day of Slicha, Bechapar, a day of Atonement, and I haven't done anything yet. The shirt is still white, the kittel's still white, the neshama is still pure. And I was struggling, but what about that Avera? What about, how do I know what I did? Forgiveness, not forgiveness. Stop. Shichacha. Sometimes you have to let the past be the past. I did shiva for those Averas. Yom Kippur came along. Yom Kippur wiped the slate clean. And now it's time to move myself forward. There's a beautiful idea by the Ger Rebbe, the Sfas Emes. The Sfas Emes asks, he says, in Ma'ariv, on Matzah Yom Kippur, we say, in Shemona Esrei, Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu. Forgive me, Hashem, for I have sinned. And ask the Sfas Emes, you've sinned. What could you possibly have done? Ne'ilah just ended. Yom Kippur just ended. It can't be that I've eaten without a bracha because I didn't eat anything yet. Lashon hara, I'm even too tired to speak Lashon hara. What could I possibly have done? And the Sfas Emes says so beautifully that sometimes what we have to ask forgiveness for is not believing that we can really be forgiven. I have to ask, forgive me for not really believing that I could be forgiven. Forgive me for not really believing that my past is the past. And it's had this cathartic moment for me this morning, such a dramatic moment, where I said to myself, you know what, I don't have to say that paragraph today. All right, chances are by tomorrow I'm probably going to have to say it. But this morning I didn't have to. This morning there wasn't the need to say, Ana Hashem chatasi avisi pashati va'asisi kach v'kach. Today, this morning at least, the slate was still clean. Things were still good. My neshama was as it should be. My life was as it should be. Everything was intact. You have to sometimes find the power to forget. And I think it's so important because whether we realize it or not, consciously, subconsciously, we often pull the averos of the past with us into the present. And when you do that, it takes the wind out of your sails. And it prevents me sometimes from actualizing the beautiful future that lies ahead. There's a brand new year with untold possibilities. There's a brand new year, and I bring all of my kochos into that year. And says the Kotzker, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the power to forget. Use it constructively. The past is the past. Forget the Averos that were part of 5782. Forget the mess-ups, the mistakes, the missteps, the failures. Leave it all behind. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the power to forget. Use it appropriately. And if we are zocheh to truly forget that which was, leave it behind us, then we free up all of that emotional energy. We free up all of our kochos to create a beautiful life, to create a beautiful year ahead. Wishing everyone a good yar, a Pesach Tova, and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.